Hello again, welcome back to Too Crazy About Wood. Recently I started following a channel called Scoutcrafter. This guy knows all about old tools and things, and I've always been fascinated with old tools. And I went through some of my tools that I've inherited from my father and my grandfather. I found this old Skarsten hook scraper made in England. And in the heyday, they were handcrafting these scrapers. What makes them so unique is the hooked steel scraping edge. The way it goes in, it's not loose, so it doesn't come out easy. You can see all the quality has been in they put it into the scraping edge and making sure it's good steel. It'll hold an edge. I'm quite impressed with it. Just looking at it, I mean, the handle is wood. That's pretty straightforward stuff, but even that they've thought about. It's simple but super effective. The Skarsten number 62 was a popular one, but they made different kinds of scrapers. There's also the number 80. It's a good one. Very unique shape, but it allows you to use two hands. Like you got something you really got to get in there and scrape off. I would love to find one of those. But anyway, I thought I would share this with everybody there that follows Scoutcrafter, and there's a great love for old tools, and I sure have it. I've been bitten by the bug for sure. I use many different kinds of hand scraping tools. For instance, they come in different sizes and things. Richards, they make a pretty good hand scraper. These handles aren't wood though. They're some kind of I'm actually not sure. There's some kind of an epoxy or some kind of a resin, very strong, and they flex somewhat. And you can put a lot of pressure onto it when you're scraping. And some that even come with a handle that bolts on around where the nut comes through, so that you can really put some pressure onto the front, onto that blade edge, and help it to dig in. But like all tools, all good tools, they need to be sharp. So learning how to sharpen these hand scraping tools, that's the trick. And that took me a while. I worked for a floor company, and I did a lot of stairs. And if anybody that knows refinishing hardwood stairs, it's all about hand scraping. You got to get into those corners and applying the right pressure so as not to gouge the wood, but at the same time, having a sharp blade and pulling at different angles just to make sure that you're slicing the wood and not gouging it or digging deep into it. Yeah, no, I really enjoy scraping rather than sanding. Well, I love sanding, I should say. It's therapy to me. But when you're stripping something, depending on what piece it is, hand scraping is a lot less dust, and you can take off all that grime and residue that's been left on something that's very old. And then you get down to the wood, and then you can start with the finest sandpapers, or a little bit rough, and then slowly work yourself to finer stuff, depending on the look and obviously the piece you're working on, how extensive you want to get down to the wood again. But yeah, I thought I'd just share this little hand scraping tool. Very unique. I think I'm going to start to use it. And I have to obviously put an edge back on there. It's quite blunt, and there's got some nicks in there, so I'm going to have to put an edge back on there. I use this little guy here all the time. If you looked at any of my videos, I use this little guy all the time. I'd be bigger ones too, but this one, it just feels like an extension of my hand. It gets into those little nooks and crannies that that are hard to get in there when you're trying to strip a piece, or if you got to use sandpaper, you just can't get right up against, you know, right into the corner. Whereas this little hand scraper will do that. It's a wonderful little thing. I love it. If I lost it, I would be lost without it. Anyway, I thought I'd just share you know, my experiences with hand scraping tools, and also the love of old tools. This Skarsten number 62 is a beautiful piece, and I'm looking forward to refurbishing it, and you know, without taking too much away from it, just brighten it up again a little bit.
I'm not sure what this is here. I didn't see any of similar things on pictures on the internet, and somebody's drilled a hole in it, which is unfortunate. But it's time to start working on the metal. My dad showed me a trick. There's some tin foil. It's a good way to take off rust and residue left on metal. But first of all, I'm gonna use a little wire brush here and take off the bulk of the debris and the bigger pieces of rust, and then work on it with the tin foil. So I've made a decision to remove the sticker here. That wasn't on there on the original, so I think I'm gonna take it off. Well, it's time to sharpen the blade. So my rule of thumb is repetition and the same action over and over and keeping it accurate. So by holding the piece like this and just going above that knuckle, back and forth across the blade. Keeping the angle the same, just missing that knuckle. Let's see how sharp this blade is. We got some cross-graining grooves left by the angle grinder. Let's see if that'll remove it.
Well, that was fun. I enjoyed that very much. As you could tell from the video how effective this hand scraper is with a good edge on it. And I like working with it. It really holds the edge too. It doesn't get dull very fast. Yeah, I have to say I'm impressed with this Skarsten scraper number 62. And I'm gonna be putting it in my toolbox and using it often. What's interesting, the Skarsten trademark was registered in the US in 1986 but was cancelled in 1992. So I guess that would suggest that the firm ceased its operations sometime in the 80s. But they made good hand scrapers, that's for sure. And I'm really happy I have this one. Well, thanks for watching Too Crazy About Wood. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe or hit that like button. Take care.